Today we dive into 3 jaw-dropping revelations, strange hairs, a silent breakdown, and an unexpected reptile that turned ordinary lives upside down. Each story starts with a tiny crack in everyday routine, then expands into a cascade of emotions that force the protagonists to confront hidden fears, insecurities, and the fragile trust that holds a relationship together. As we walk through each confession, listen for the raw honesty that surfaces when secrets are finally brought into the light, and discover how the power of communication can transform even the most shocking betrayals into opportunities for growth. I walked through the front door early, heart racing, and the first thing that caught my eye was a pair of unfamiliar men's shoes lingering in the hallway. My mind raced, who could be here? Before I could decide whether to sneak past or call out, my husband emerged from the kitchen with 2 steaming cups of tea, his face a mask of surprised hospitality. I forced a smile, asked how he knew I was home early, and braced for a lie that never came. Instead, he calmly began to explain, his voice steady yet tinged with the nervousness of someone caught off guard. We had been married 5 years, a partnership built on mutual trust and late-night movie marathons. He was the quiet type, always fixing things around the house, while I kept the home running smoothly. Our routine felt ordinary but comforting, weekend grocery trips, shared playlists, and weekly video calls with his college friends. I never imagined a stranger would ever cross our threshold, especially not during a pandemic lockdown that forced us to stay closer than ever. The stability we cherished made the later revelation feel like a betrayal of our very foundation, shaking the core of what we thought was unshakable. A few weeks earlier, I started noticing tiny strands of long hair on the bathroom counter, hair that didn't match my short pixie cut. I also heard a faint rustle at night, like someone moving around the bathroom after I'd turned off the lights. I blamed the landlord's maintenance crew or a stray animal, convincing myself that nothing could be that sinister. The odd smell of aftershave in the shower and a faint beard scent lingered longer than usual, but I dismissed each clue, clinging to the belief that my husband would never hide something from me, even as unease grew. When my husband finally confessed that a long-haired friend had been staying over to use our shower for job interviews, my anger melted into relief and embarrassment. I told him the whole scenario had terrified me, and I would have been fine with the arrangement if he'd just asked. We laughed at the absurdity, invited the friend for coffee, and set clear boundaries about future guests. Today, we've turned the awkward episode into a story we share with friends, reminding ourselves that honest communication can rescue even the strangest of misunderstandings and keep our bond strong. From mystery hairs to a man who felt like a robot, the next confession will hit you right in the chest, exposing how pressure and fear can turn a loving partner into an emotional shell. He walked through the doorway at 6, eyes hollow, and I could feel the weight of his silence before he even spoke. I sat him down on the bedroom floor, handed him my old Reddit post, and waited. As he read, his shoulders trembled and tears streamed down a face I'd never seen cry. He confessed that the pandemic, the impending baby, and the pressure to be the perfect provider had turned him into a hollow shell, an emotional robot that couldn't breathe without crashing, and he finally let the dam of feelings break. We'd been together 8 years, married 3, and recently discovered we were expecting our first child. Our love had always been practical. He handled finances, I managed the home, and we celebrated small victories together. The pandemic forced both of us to work from home, blurring the line between office and living room. He never talked about his anxieties, and I assumed his long hours meant dedication. The sudden shift to silence felt like a crack in our foundation, but I never imagined it would become a chasm of unspoken dread that threatened to swallow us whole. I noticed he'd start his mornings with a quick coffee, then disappear for hours, returning with a forced smile. He'd avoid eye contact, and his laughter sounded rehearsed. He stopped joining me for our evening walks, claiming fatigue, yet I heard from his coworkers that he was still pulling late-night shifts. The house grew quiet, and his fingers constantly tapped a nervous rhythm on the kitchen counter. I tried to ask, but every question was met with a vague, "I'm fine," until the night I finally forced the conversation and broke through his protective wall. After the tears, we scheduled a weekend getaway, just the 2 of us, like the honeymoon trips we used to love. He admitted he'd been terrified to appear weak, fearing I'd stop seeing him as a protector. We created a dad time ritual, 2 hours each day without kids, work, or chores, just us talking or sitting in silence. He took a short leave from work, and we began therapy together. Today, he still feels pressure, But we face it as a team, and our baby will arrive into a home full of honest conversation and renewed partnership. From a robot's breakdown to a surprise that slithered into a relationship, prepare for a twist you won't see coming, where a tiny reptile becomes the unexpected catalyst for trust. She texted me, "I'm with a friend, don't worry," and I laughed, assuming a coffee date. Hours later, she sent a photo of herself holding a tiny Kenyan sand boa, her eyes sparkling with excitement. My mind raced. Was she cheating? The friend she'd mentioned was actually a reptile, a surprise she'd been planning for months. The realization hit like a slap. The entire story I'd been rehearsing turned into a harmless, albeit unexpected, pet reveal. My anger dissolved into bewildered amusement as I saw the genuine happiness on her face. We'd been together 2 years, moving in after a year of dating. She was an animal lover, but I'd always hesitated about pets because of my childhood allergies. We compromised, sharing a small studio with a rescued cat, and never discussed snakes. Over time, I sensed she was keeping a secret, late-night trips to the pet store, whispered phone calls, and a sudden interest in her friends. I assumed she was planning a secret getaway, not a slithering surprise, which made the eventual reveal feel both ridiculous and sweet, reshaping our dynamic in a playful way. She'd receive packages with no label, hide them in the closet, and become unusually protective of the kitchen cabinet. She started Googling how to care for a sand boa and saved articles on my phone when I wasn't looking. When I asked about her friend, she'd blush and say, "Just a surprise." The final clue was a faint hissing sound she tried to drown out with music. I brushed it off, thinking it was just a neighbor's cat, never suspecting a reptile waiting to be unveiled under the guise of secrecy. I laughed, admitted my jealousy, and told her I loved the thoughtfulness behind the surprise. We visited a reptile shop together, and she showed me how to handle the snake safely. The moment we named it Slide, I realized trust could survive even the strangest secrets. Today, the boa lives peacefully in a terrarium, and our relationship feels stronger, built on honesty about quirks and passions. We've learned that sometimes the biggest betrayals are just misunderstandings, and love can adapt to even the most unexpected companions. Every story shows that truth, however painful, can become a stepping stone to stronger selves. Remember, you deserve honesty and the courage to rebuild. What would you have done in their shoes? Drop your thoughts below, share your own experiences, and let's create a community where vulnerability fuels growth and healing.